You're listening to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. Hello, welcome back to Pack Dynamics, a Teen Wolf podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Allison.
And this is the season finale.
Dude.
I know.
I was watching the finale and, having seen this before, I was actually really, really impressed with how many storylines and things that they set up for next season. I was like, oh, wow, you knew you were getting renewed and you put some thought into this. I'm very proud of you.
We're not used to shows that put thought into things. So many of our shows from this era did not.
Not at all.
We're looking directly at Glee.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Teen Wolf will stop that.
They will.
They will. But for right this second, I'm just sitting here going okay, so you've wrapped up a bunch of stuff and you've set up some new mysteries and you've got some heel turns coming. Okay, I see where you're going here. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm able to draw the dotted line from 112 to 21. And I'm like, all right.
They accomplished something. And honestly, good for them. I can't be mad at it.
No, I'm not mad.
I mean, I can be mad at a few things because of later things.
Yeah.
That I disapprove of.
Deep sigh.
Financially, ecumenically, morally.
I think I would be nicer about writing if I weren't, as the cool kids say, so intimately involved with so many writers in my own life.
Yes.
Because, I have a lot of people in my life, a surprising number of people in my life who would look at a script like this and go, no.
Mm-hmm.
Or they would look at the retconning that'll happen in 3 seasons and go, this was your excuse?
Mm-hmm.
This is where you got that from? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You did what now?
You did what? Excuse me? So that worked then, but it didn't work now?
Mm-hmm.
Deep sigh.
Who told you could do this?
Who told you could do this? But I really like this episode and I'm not mad about it at all. And it's so pretty and yeah. Yep.
We do reserve the right to be mad at it later.
Yes, of course. We're fandom. That's what we do.
Yeah. That's why the pod network that we pretend to be is on the rocks. It's not fandom, oh my god, it's perfect.
It's fandom, oh my god, why?
Yeah.
Fandom, why god, why?
Fandom, what the fuck? Yeah, there's caveats. Fandom caveats.
The light comes from where the music comes from.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, we'll talk about Teen Wolf and its lighting here in a few seasons.
Fandom, wow, this is a really well-lit forest.
The lighting comes from where the music comes from.
Yeah.
Got it. They once again reprise my favorite sound cue in all of Teen Wolf later in this episode, and we'll talk about it when we get there. But I'm just I have so many questions.
This non-diegetic lighting.
Wow, the forest is a lot more blue than I remember.
Yeah. Well, Blue Moon, I don't know. They really took that to heart.
I guess. I don't know. But all things considered, yeah. So I was watching it in the living room this morning with my beloved fella who hasn't seen any of Teen Wolf really at all.
Mm-hmm.
But he did watch the first few episodes of the season with me.
Okay.
And now he's watching the finale and he's just yeah, okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand, but okay.
I don't get it, but
I don't understand it, but I'm supportive, which is just the best, absolute best. But yes,
good for him.
Yes, I'm very, very grateful. But no, we should just dive in because I think we're going to have a lot of thoughts.
Yes, we are. So this is 1/12 Codebreaker. Scott is caught in the middle of a war between hunters and werewolves, and he enlists the help of both his friends and enemies to stop the mysterious killings and win back Allison. The season finale premiered August 15th, 2011.
So I'd like to embarrass myself in front of the fandom.
Yes.
I've been watching this show. So you just said 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved to LA in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been watching this show for almost 10 years at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I have never, until you just read it out loud, understood what the phrase Codebreaker was referring to.
Oh.
I always thought that Codebreaker had something to do with Styles and Peter trying to crack into Scott's whatever. They're not referring to that kind of code breaker. They're referring to a breaker of the code.
Yes.
And I literally in the last 30 seconds have figured that out for the first time. So
fantastic. I'm glad I could help you solve this mystery.
I
I'm glad I
really
could
I
help you
appreciate
solve the code.
to break the code. We've broken the code. This is not the
Yeah.
first code we will break.
Well, like we mentioned in some other episode, the titles are like a little bit of a pun every time.
And
Formality.
I really appreciate it. Like, because it helps me remember the different episodes, but they're not so off kilter. They kind of add a little extra like spice
Mm-hmm.
to kind of the lore of the episode.
Yeah. And we know that naming episodes are just the worst.
It's the worst. But I will say, as we very politely climb from season 1 to season 2, because yes, dear listener, we will be back.
You're stuck.
Get ready. Season 2 has some of my favorite episodes, and it's my favorite season 2. But it's got some of my favorite episode titles.
Okay.
Just, they're so much fun. And you can kind of peel them back all the way, which I think is fantastic. But no, I really appreciate whoever was naming all the Teen Wolf episodes. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know who did that. We should find out.
So whoever did that, good job. Good job.
We appreciate you.
We do.
Not everything that you do, but we do appreciate this.
Yes.
So the season finale, like some of the other episodes, just picks up immediately where the previous episode left off, which is Allison staring in shock at the transformed Scott McCall in his Werewolves of London prosthetics, who has leapt on top of the car that Allison's dad has tried to smush him with. Do we think he tried to kill him or just like shock him into transforming?
I don't know.
Because like teenage murder's
rough, but like the look on Chris's face right here is like half like shock.
Like you didn't know.
Like he didn't know. Like, you're trying to tell me that you didn't know what was about to happen before you tried to run this child over? Like,
who are you kidding?
So like I was watching his face and I was like, this is not a face that I would have expected from this guy at this point in time. Hold on.
Yep.
But yeah, Scott is feeling a lot of feelings because he just got outed real bad. Chris realizes that he just tried to murder his daughter's on again, off again boyfriend. And Allison is standing very beautifully in the school bus, feeling a lot of other feelings. It's
a lot happening with these kids all at once.
All at once, poor kids.
And like, again, around a school bus. We've had other high-strung incidents around school buses parked outside of the school. Right. And it's just an interesting location to have stressful incidences occur. I feel like maybe Jeff Davis had trouble at school.
On a school bus, perhaps?
On a school bus, like maybe something happened to him and he's just working out some trauma via these poor children.
You know what? If I had like a very significant emotional thing happen to me as a little kid at a specifically little kid location, like on a playground or on a school bus, I would also work it through in fiction. Isn't that what fic is all about? Working through your trauma?
It is, yeah. We just don't usually get to then hire actors to act it out.
It's true.
For us.
It's true.
Yeah, you don't usually get to put people in these situations to be like, okay, now go.
And ready, go.
Ready, go. Yeah. So the other traumatic incidents that is occurring is on the lacrosse field.
Because there are two very intense things happening. The first is that Lydia has been attacked by Peter Hale and is like passed out straight cold on the lacrosse field. And Stiles, who is there, is trying to rescue her, is feeling a lot of feelings because, you know, he really likes Lydia and she's in trouble.
Or he likes a version of her.
Yeah, the parts of her that he knows and that he thinks he knows, he's awfully fond of her.
Yeah.
It's true for him in that moment. The other big thing that's happening is he is starting to feel very odd feelings about this grown, very violent, very scary werewolf who drags him up by the chin. And I'm sitting here going like, okay, I understand.
He sure did.
He sure did. Peter takes that claw and puts it right under Stiles' chin and just drags him all the way up off the ground.
Acting choices, directing choices.
Editorial choices.
Yes.
A lot of choices that got to be made there in that moment. Steeder folks, I see you.
Yeah.
I validate your choices.
Yeah. Peter is threatening Stiles with Lydia and other things to get Stiles to go with him to find Derek. It's all very, this whole episode and the one before is very much like following the cup. You know, what's that game with like the 3 cups and the ball underneath it?
Yeah,
Like who's using who to find who in which particular scene.
Yeah.
Like you're going to come with me and you're going to call Jackson to tell him where Lydia is, to go here to find this phone, to go to this person, and use Derek to find Scott, to find Kate, to find Pete. Like, oh my God, just why don't we all come to the lacrosse field together and have a chat?
And just have a chat. Just have
Let's
a nice
all
chat.
just come together in one scene and just have like a little get together.
Yeah. Everyone's having a real bad night
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, we were at Lydia and then we flash back to Allison and she, like, in slow motion collapses and falls out of the school bus
Mm-hmm.
and is caught by her father. And, like, this shot is so beautiful.
It is.
I love this shot. I absolutely adore it.
Sometimes they get a good one.
I get so many. There's 2 in this particular episode that I like all capsed. Like, ah! But yeah, no, this particular shot of Allison being caught by Chris is outstanding. And like, let's think about for a hot minute what Allison has had to deal with like this week.
Or like the last 3 days.
Like,
I don't even think she's gotten a week.
Torture, werewolves, family business, werewolf boyfriend.
Yeah.
Family secrets, torture, murder.
And probably school somewhere in there, although it's unclear if anyone's been going to school.
Because I think at this point, Allison doesn't know about Lydia.
Right. She would not know yet that Lydia's been attacked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she is having a real bad week. Speaking of poor kiddos who are having a real bad week, Scotty just runs away and is like tearing off all of his clothes through the preserve. And he just like falls to the ground and starts to weep. I'm like, sir, Scott McCall deserved so much better than this nonsense here. Like,
and I liked this shot though, because sometimes the scenes are very loud with the music, and this one was in like silence.
Yeah. 100%.
And I thought that was super.
Yeah.
You know that internally his world is collapsing and his emotions are roiling at 1,000%. But for the audience, it's silent.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really nice choice.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's so blue.
I was like, cool.
And underlit.
It's so dark
that you can't see it, but we can hear him.
Sometimes there's like a moon spotlight, and other times it's just dark as shit.
It's dark. Speaking of more kids having a really bad day, we move from Scott to Jackson, who has found Lydia and is just like carrying her broken body back to school.
And then because the dance is still going on.
And
so like, now, all of a sudden, this school, which was enjoying their fucking little dance, is like, hey, wait, what? What is happening?
Huh?
What? You guys... You're ruining the dance.
Ruining the dance. Super ruining the dance. To be fair, we can place the ruining the dance purely on 2 grown adult men, Chris Argent and Peter Hale.
Yes. Fucking everyone's day up. People spent money on dresses and hair and shoes and tuxes and boutonnieres and limos. And these adult men with their petty little blood feuds are
unresolved sexual tension.
Unresolved sexual tension are like, we're gonna fuck up a school dance. So, that they weren't even invited to.
They weren't even invited. They were not invited. Party crashers. And so finally, the last person at school having a really bad day is Styles, because he has once again been cajoled by a member of the Hale family into driving somewhere he does not want to be in his Jeep.
At least someone's bleeding in it this time.
Correct. There's just so much sass between the 2 of them. And it's hilarious.
I do love, at the time, Dylan O'Brien was pretty young, holding it own with, what's his face, Ian Bowen.
Yeah, he really was.
Good for him.
Like, I didn't really recognize this the first time I watched it, but as I go back and watch it now, there is a marked difference between the child, like, the child actors, like the younger kids, and the like, capital A adult actors, even though I think Crystal Reed would have fallen into the adult age actors.
Sure.
But you can 100% tell the difference between, Jackson, Scott, Styles, Lydia, versus like Chris Argent and Peter Hale and Melissa and the sheriff. Like,
The veterans.
the veterans, and you can really kind of tell when they get to interplay in a scene. There's a scene a little bit later with the sheriff and Jackson,
Yeah.
and like the way that he kind of like ups his performance a little bit because he's got a scene partner who can like be an anchor for him.
Wait, an anchor?
But ching. And it's so cool to get to see them to do that. That they get that opportunity. And so every time I get to watch Styles banter back and forth with a veteran actor is just, oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's got to be fun for them. Or daunting. Who knows? But it's fun to watch.
Speaking of daunting, let's talk about two really great actors playing two characters who were grumpy at each other and or the world. Back in Chris's living room, he is throwing shit everywhere and yelling at his sister, Kate.
Have you ever wanted to throw something in anger? Because I haven't.
Yes, 100%. Especially if you have something in your hands at the moment, there is like, for me anyway, when I get really angry or super defensive, or if something happens, if my body gets like triggered in that way, I get a bunch of tension in my body. And you have to let it go somewhere. You can't just swallow it. And so
that's why I cry.
Yeah, well.
That's where mine goes, is I just start crying.
I used to. I don't so much anymore. It happened in school a couple of days ago. That was fun. God, I haven't cried in the middle of class in a long time, but here we are. But no, I can 100% see where Chris is right here. Now, is it about Kate and the things that she's told Allison, or is it about him trying to have murdered a 16-year-old boy? One of the two. I'm sure of it.
¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos?
I like that he finally, I don't know if he's seeing through her bullshit or not. Like, it kind of feels like some of the pieces are starting to click because she told Allison about the family business. He's kind of questioning why she's even there. Like, maybe some of the cracks are forming here, but it's taken a lot. She's done some shady shit over the years, and obviously their family, Chris is not an idiot. So it's nice when you, the audience, are kind of looking at a character going, hey, just a little further. Come on. You can do it. Figure it out. You're so close. Just get there with us.
And you really have to give it to Kate Argent's actor, Jill?
I think it's Jill.
But she, in kind of a heavy-handed way, but a heavy-handed way that I, as an audience member, really appreciated, was getting really defensive when Chris would get too close to the right answer. So, Kate's talking about, they're just killing people at random. They're killing people at random. And Chris is like, it's not random.
Yeah.
And Kate's like, they've always blamed us for that. And it's like, she's really trying to, in the strongest possible terms, telling her big brother, like, scoot back.
Yeah.
But
it's
Chris,
not us.
Yeah. They've always blamed us for that fire. I wonder why. I wonder why, Catherine.
Could it be?
Could it be? And so Chris decides it's like, no, Kate, you can't be here. You've betrayed my trust. I can't handle it. Take Allison and go. I love the line, you're going to bench your star player in the last quarter.
Yeah, do it.
Everything's a game to me. How do you think I stay sane? Like, oh, Catherine.
And like, it's so unimportant, but so they mentioned that they have a house in Washington. Does this ever come up again? For some reason that caught me in their banter back and forth of this house we have in Washington. And I was like, wait, what? Is this a plot point later? Or is this just something they throw in to give them a reason to leave?
It's not a plot point I recognize. Now, whether or not it's, anything is, but there is, I think Fandom took this because in a lot of fic, they talk about the network of hunters. And maybe when we start talking about additional hunters in season 2, maybe there's going to be a little bit more to that. But right this second, I think it's just an excuse for them to leave.
Okay. Because I was like, do I just not remember something important about why? Like, wait, is happening? And because for something about that took me out of the scene for a minute. I was like, wait, Washington, is there a thing I'm supposed to remember? Or am I just conflating a lot of fic where Styles and or Derek leaves and goes to Washington in the wilderness? Like, could be. It wouldn't be the first time.
No, nor will it be the last.
And then we do get a scene with Allison's mother, who is often just a bit player and whose name I can never remember.
Victoria.
There we go. I just wrote her mother because no one ever says her name.
No, they don't. Her name is Victoria. And she is trying her best to be like a protective and safe parent in this moment. I think very much like Kate, there's a very small list of things that Victoria Argent cares about. There's a very small list, but Allison's on that list. And so I really appreciate this moment because it's the first time we actually kind of get to see Victoria Argent like as a person. We get that actor really gets to like kind of shake off some really stiffness that this character's had so far. And Victoria Argent in this moment introduces the code. We have sort of a code we follow.
It's more of a suggestion.
But Allison is currently having 100,000 thoughts go through her brain and is desperately trying to separate, I think, the things that she has learned over the past few days from Kate versus the things that she knows about Scott and can't really talk to anybody about it in an unbiased way.
Right. Yeah. Well, and like kind of what happens in a lot of teen shows or shows that are set in schools, Allison doesn't seem to have any other friends.
No.
So who she has are the people directly involved in the problem. Scott, Jackson, Lydia, Stiles.
Right.
Who else is she going to talk to after seeing her boyfriend turn into a werewolf? The only people she knows are involved.
Right. And her phone rings and Allison goes to answer and it's like, is it Scott? And Victoria's like, grab the phone and like turn it out. She's like, it's someone named Jackson. And I think Allison in that moment will be like, oh my God, I want to talk to Jackson.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that Jackson called Allison to tell her about Lydia. That's what I'm guessing is how that goes.
Yeah, I think so. Because he cares. And they're friends. God damn it.
They spent like 3 whole episodes developing a friendship.
Yes. Even if it was a little weird, but it happened. And underhanded, but they did it. It happened.
They still spent that time together. It's fine.
Yeah. It happened. Yeah. I know that in shows, your main character they can have just random ass friendships. Obviously not. Come on. But it does present the problem of who else is she going to turn to? She just moved here. I guess she'll have to go back to Washington.
Or wherever she was.
Or wherever Kansas, I don't know.
Yeah,
she has a Midwest face.
Well, because they just moved around so much. We established that early in the season.
Yes, because they keep killing teenagers.
It's
the supernatural problem where they're always on the FBI's most wanted list.
Right.
They can't stay in one place. Terrible. Well, and now Chris needs her boyfriend to find the alpha because everyone needs someone to find somebody else.
Because they can't just find them themselves.
Yeah, because he's a loser. No, we like Chris. We don't like Chris. We like Chris's face.
That's fair.
Well, now we have a parking garage. Nothing good happens in a parking garage.
Nothing good happens in a parking garage, particularly when Peter and Stiles are involved.
No bueno. No good. Well, we find out what happened to the nurse.
Bye.
She gone. She's in the trunk. Not great.
And Peter drops one heck of a one-line.
It's a good one-liner. What happened to your nurse?
I got better.
Great. Perfect. So Peter is forcing Stiles to log into a computer using Scott's information to be able to track Derek's phone.
But it isn't Derek's phone that they're looking for. It's Scott's phone.
Oh, that's right. It's Scott's phone.
Derek took Scott's phone when the house got blitzed by the Argents.
Yes. To find Derek. Derek has Scott's phone. Scott, Derek, Scott, Argent, Stiles, Peter, Jackson.
Dumbledore!
Dumbledore. Oh my God, what a throwback. Someone is going to be listening to this going, Dumbledore?
Oh,
please go Google Potter Puppet Pals.
Good times.
And then come back to us in about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's that, yes.
Yeah.
Fucking phones.
It's that whole thing. And they're doing all these intercuts and interconnected stories. So Scotty ran to Deaton's. His
Smart boy.
That's his safe place. It's protected. He knows that Deaton is cool. He's protected him from Peter. Like, he's good. He's cool. And he is having a major breakdown.
Just have a little moment to himself and
Having a
the
little moment.
animals.
And that's like put right next to Allison staring wistfully out the car window as Kate's driving. And Styles is just continuing to get wrecked by Halemen because that's his whole deal. Peter has like his laptop and he's got like the little like Wi-Fi extender and his whole thing.
What was it, a MiFi? I was like, what kind of product placement is this? Get the fuck out of here.
God, incredible. And then we get Lydia in a coma. We get to the hospital and Lydia's in a coma. The thing that I really noticed this time about Lydia in the coma is all of the bruising all over her arms.
Yeah. She really got
like
beat.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof. And clearly bit now. I think in the last episode we were like, it wasn't clear that she was bitten by the alpha. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if you were just supposed to assume she was, but you never saw a bite in the previous episode. You just saw her laying on the lacrosse field with blood.
I don't think you see the bite in this episode either, but Peter keeps talking about it.
No, you see it in this episode because they like peel.
And it's just one jagged line.
It's like, it's like a jagged line and like,
it's not a bite mark. It's just a big kind of like.
Yeah. So maybe it's meant to that he scratched her?
Maybe. I think, pause for like, skip over the next like 30 seconds if you haven't actually seen Teen Wolf before. I'm going to talk about season 2.
Pause.
I think early in season 2, you see the bite mark. Like she's in the shower. I think you see the bite mark.
So again, I wonder if these are things where they didn't quite want to commit. They wanted to give themselves like a little wiggle room.
Yeah, I think
just in case.
And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can unpause. Thank you. We come back. Come back.
Yeah.
So we get in this moment, Jackson is like very clearly having some strong thoughts and feelings about Lydia. And he gets physically accosted by the sheriff.
Yeah. Well, he went like full protective cop and dad.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do to this girl or what did you let happen to this girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an interesting tone to take with like, it's your responsibility for her safety. And there was, I don't know if you felt it, but for me, there was a hint or maybe a very strong nudge of like, sexual assault almost of what did you do to her or what did you let happen? Like, it was an interesting tone shift here, but I'm sure the sheriff has seen a number of things, even in a small town, that is where he went to first.
Yeah. And it's the whole, if you hear hoof prints, think horsies, not zebras. So he sees this guy, this kid bringing in this unconscious teenage girl who's covered in bite marks and bruises and just, beat to shit and is not responsive.
Yep.
Like that is
after a dance.
Yeah. After the dance. That is your first question. What happened? What did you do? Which now that I'm thinking about it, mirrors very well what Styles said to him last episode when Jackson comes back from the preserve outside the school when he gets caught by the hunters.
Yes.
And, so Jackson comes back inside after having given Scott's name to Chris Argent.
Oh.
And Styles is like, what happened? What did you do?
Yes. I was like, wait, was there another bloody girl? Like, wait.
Not to my knowledge.
I had a moment. I was like, what?
No, but yeah. And it's not until Jackson is like, dude, it wasn't me. I didn't take her to the dance. And the sheriff's like, well, who did that? He's like, it was Styles.
Yeah. Papa Stalinsky turned. He was not happy with Styles.
He was not happy. Not happy. So, yeah, it's not good. Everyone's feeling thoughts and feelings. We are all very high strung right now.
Yep.
But unfortunately, we go back to the two funniest unintentionally people in Beacon Hills, which is Styles and Peter.
Yeah, Styles should be scared shitless, and he's just really not.
No, he's just like, come on, dude. Come on. Nah.
And Peter is trying to give him pack lessons about wolves hunting in packs, and that's why he needs Derek and Scott. And you can tell a little bit Peter is like, I really should have fucking gotten rid of this kid when I had the chance.
Yeah, indeed. You're going to be a problem, aren't you? It's like,
Yeah, you're going to be an issue. He still offers him the bite, though.
He does.
But, I get it. Stronger together.
Yeah.
At least that's what he thinks.
Stronger together.
Smart kid, resourceful, clever, look cute.
Look cute.
He does use the wrong temptations on Styles.
Yes.
And that's because he doesn't understand him at all.
Right.
And what he's using is the offers of being like Scott, which is not what it does. That's not what you get from Styles.
No.
Stronger, better, faster, more popular is not what it's going to take.
No.
Because Styles rejects him because he doesn't want to be. Well, he says like Peter, which is true. But I think he also doesn't want to be like Scott.
They're different people.
Different people. It's a little too soon for him to make this choice.
It's true.
Actually, given the evening that he's had.
He's had a bad night.
With everyone trying to kill everyone else, I don't think this is maybe the time to persuade him into another life-altering event.
I would be remiss, though, if I did not mention the unbelievable sexual tension between, like, the hand and the wrist.
Yes.
That whole, like, moment of Peter just, like...
The only thing that would have been worse would be grabbing him by the back of the neck.
Seriously. Like, yikes.
That's the only way that it could have been sexier.
Like, I get it. I'm on board. Like, I understand.
Yeah.
So, again, a few incredible pieces of writing from this thing. It's like, you're going to kill people, aren't you? Only the responsible ones. It's nice to know that Peter has boundaries.
Sometimes.
And
occasionally.
We finally get the long-awaited whole 10-minute answer that Styles knows Scott's username and password.
Yes. Oh boy. It's not even Allison123.
His username is Allison. His password is also Allison.
Sure is.
Screaming, laughing forever.
Couldn't even put an apostrophe, couldn't put an asterisk, couldn't put a pound sign, nothing.
No.
Straight up Allison. Well, it's easy to remember.
Yeah, it is. Now, my notes tell me that something beautiful happened, but I'm trying to remember how we got there.
There's a lot of back and forth, and the time I lost a little track of which back and forth.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth, but at some point in this, among the Styles Peter tension, we get Scott, who is out of the vet's office and in the preserve and just like really looking for something to do. He is like, I got to take some action. Let's heckin' go. So he goes to the lookout point, which we'll come back to many times. And Scotty, little beta Scott McCall, lets out his alpha roar. I am so proud of you. It's incredible.
He takes a big breath.
And it's unbelievable.
Yes.
And he hears someone roar back, which is unbelievable.
Well, because we flash really quick to the basement dungeon chamber and it wakes Derek up. So we see a flash of Derek's eyes open.
And that shot.
Gorgeous.
That close up of his face with that lighting, the nose, the jaw, that bright eye. I cannot believe that GIF isn't all over the internet. Like, I don't understand that shot is so beautiful.
I know. It's disgusting.
Such a beautiful shot. Like, to the DP of this episode, like, incredible work. I love you. Thank you for this. Wowzers.
Do you know the chorus of Taylor Swift's song, Gorgeous?
Probably.
That's what I think of when I look at Tyler Hoechlin.
That's fair.
Yeah. So that really just needs to go across that GIF. Despite him being chained up and tortured.
Yeah, my firstborn son, Derek Hale, he's having a day. So, Scott's howling, Derek's waking up, and someone's howling back. And then in the garage, like, Peter's hearing the roar, and everyone's roaring and calling to each other. Ah, amazing. Werewolves.
Yep. Family.
Speaking of family, turns out someone finally got a hold of Allison.
Yes. Somehow. So Kate and Allison have been driving, presumably just north. And she just kind of shows up at the hospital. And I'm not sure who let her know that Lydia was in the hospital. She just kind of like shows up.
I think at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and assume because Jackson was trying to call Allison,
Mm-hmm.
and I assume that now that Mama Argent isn't in the car with them, that he actually got to pick up. That,
Okay.
like, Jackson called her back and that Allison actually picked up the phone and that
Yeah.
Kate took her to the hospital.
Okay.
And, Allison looking like an absolute adorable bunny in her purple hoodie.
Yes. Although, did you find so she's like slow walking, well, I mean, it's all slow-mo towards Lydia's room, and like the staff all turned to stare at her.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is it? Why?
When the fellow was watching it, he asked if it was a dream sequence.
Right. It did have a vibe because she gets flashes of Lydia like covered in blood.
Yeah. Covered in blood, thrashing, screaming.
Yep. And it did have a weird vibe, but then you do see her walking out of the hospital and getting back into the car.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, why are the staff turning and staring at her like she's looking weird? Like
Yeah.
they looked at her like she was not supposed to be there.
Right.
And what's happening?
Yeah. So, like, Allison comes up to the window of Lydia's room, and I love that Lydia has like this whole like viewing chamber in her hospital room. Never have I ever seen a hospital room so accessible.
I know.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
But that like delicate touch that she does on the window for my Allison Lydia shippers in the room. This is your moment. Just the like touch.
Yeah, it's this episode. It's kind of juxtaposed to when Styles and Scott are in the room, like trying to close the door.
Yeah, that's the one.
Like, oh boy.
So like I think this right here is where I started to see, knowing what I know when we move forward, that Allison's like season 2 plot line kind of begins. Because she's, now, not to say like she's in the clutches of her Aunt Kate, but like she's kind of in the clutches of her Aunt Kate because Aunt Kate's the only one telling her anything, and she's the only one who's willing to process what's going on with her. And then she sees her best friend having been mauled by this creature who Aunt Kate is like, yeah, everyone, they're all like this. They're all going to wreck them. They're insalvageable. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
Which is not a nope, hard pass. And so like this, I think, is really where we start to see Allison's brain kind of settling into place, that Argent Hunter mentality of like werewolves bad.
Werewolves bad.
Family good.
Family good. My family good.
Yeah. My family good. My family would never do anything to steer me wrong. They wouldn't lie to me. Why would they lie to me?
Yeah.
Which I think really sets her up nicely for where she goes in season 2.
Because teenagers make dumb choices.
Yeah, because their brains are made of jello.
Yes. Which is often an issue that I have in media where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And I always have to step back. And I think it's gotten easier as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
To be like, they're just fucking idiots. Of course they did this.
Of course they did.
Of course she made this choice. She's an idiot. She's 17.
Yeah, like it's, for me, and very sorry that dear listener, that I'm going on this tangent, but it's appropriate. That was my biggest issue with the first season of Game of Thrones. And I'm looking at Robb Stark going like, sir, aren't you a grown-up? Shouldn't you have like seen this coming? Shouldn't you have like understood that like maybe fucking around with grown-ups is like gonna get you wrecked? And then I remember talking to my mom, and she's like, they aged them up a lot for the show. What is Robb in the books, like maybe 17?
Oh God, is he even that old? He may be 15.
Know. Let's see.
I think in the beginning of the series, he is 14.
Yeah, Robb is 14 years old at the beginning of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's maybe 15 by the time he decides to not get married to the phrase.
Yeah, he is small boy, so dumb.
Just like
no brain.
I'm seeing this actor who I'm like, oh no, he's definitely like 25. It's fine. Like he's a grown up. Like, no, he's not.
Yeah. He
is a baby making baby decisions. Of course he's going to make this decision based on the way that he understands the world. Of course he is. Like, I'm, kind of flashing back here. I'm really proud of Scott for running away to Deaton's, to running away to the vet's office. Because he knew that it was safe, like physically safe. From Peter.
Yeah.
Like that was a really smart decision. And for being like 15, 16 years old when your brain is made of jello, like Good job.
He got out of a dangerous situation. He went somewhere safe
Yeah.
to an adult.
Who he can trust. Like,
Yeah.
yes. I'm so proud of him for making this choice.
Yeah.
But then he makes other choices. Scotty. Sweet, 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 sweet friend. So we next find Scott awkwardly sniffing around the preserve, presumably to find Derek,
Mhm.
where Derek howled and said, "I'm here, Scott, I'm here."
It's the worst kind of GPS.
Now, my question is, what is this catacomby thing, and why did the Hales have it under their house?
Sometimes you need a basement to throw all your young children in when they're being rowdy.
Perhaps.
When you have a family of 90, which apparently the Hales did,
Yeah, I don't know.
and you have that many young kids, when they're loud, you send them into the catacombs and you're like, get the fuck out of here. You're too
Get
loud.
out. Get out.
I need you to be quiet in the basement.
Here, be in this concrete room. Yes, go wild. I'll be
Be
back in 30
quiet.
minutes.
Be quiet in this concrete room.
I'm taking a NASA nap of 27 minutes. I'll be right here.
I mean, maybe they knew that they were always going to be in some sort of danger, so they had an escape hatch built in.
Maybe. I don't know, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
But it's helpful for getting in.
it is. It's super helpful.
Less helpful is Scott also just being like, I'm not going to help you get well, okay, first, he shows up right as that dude is about to swing a bat at Derek, who has just gotten an arm free, so Derek kills him.
Yeah.
But Scott's like, I'm here, but I'm not going to help you get free until you tell me how to stop Peter. Like, what a bitch.
It's like, I understand your moral superiority. I get it. I do.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're trying to do. And also, I understand Derek's reaction.
Yeah. Like, come on. Let's everyone just take a fucking breath. Damn.
Take a breath. We're doing all right.
Yeah.
So,
Although, has this happened before? This is all the back and forth.
yeah.
Because Chris Argent also shows up at the hospital looking
Yeah, and he
for.
shows up a little bit later. So we've got
Okay.
we've got some things happening. So first up, Styles finally gets to the hospital.
Mm.
He had to walk.
Because fucking Peter destroyed his car keys like a bitch.
Like a bitch. So Styles has to walk, and he and the sheriff start having a conversation.
Yes. Because apparently the sheriff doesn't trust his son not to hurt Lydia.
And like the thing about it is at this point, Styles has all of the answers to all of his questions.
I know. You could see it in his eyes that he
Yeah.
wanted to tell him.
Yes. You can read it on his face. You can read it on his face. So great job. Great. That acting was so good. Because the sheriff is asking really clear, pointed questions, and
Yep.
Styles knows the answers, but also knows he's doing the like pro con pro. He's doing the cost benefit analysis in his head of like, what are the chances of Peter killing my dad if I tell my dad about Peter?
Yep.
And the chances are high, very high. But a little bonusy Easter egg that I saw for the first time is that Natalie is actually here. And I realize, talking about it now, that Natalie, I guess Martin, has been in this entire first season. So like Lydia's mom has shown up at the parent-teacher conferences. She was there at Lydia's house when she was talking about the medicated, what did I see phone conversation between Lydia and Styles.
Yeah.
But it was like such a thing for me to see Natalie here, because I don't think you see Natalie again for like 4 seasons.
Right.
I was just like, oh, they kept the same actor for so many seasons. I got really excited about it, like unnecessarily excited about it.
Hey, good for them for just being like, hey, we like this one.
So I'm just like, I want to just say, I see you. Really glad you're still here. Really glad you come back. Pretty great.
Good for them, because I hate when they change parents.
Me too. I'm looking at you, Topanga's parents from Boy Meets World. Looking at you.
Rachel's parents on Glee.
How many parents did she end up having?
Several.
That's
I think just 2 sets.
That's fair. So Styles is talking to the sheriff, and the sheriff is, according to my beloved Vella, being very loose-lipped about the thing. Why are you telling this boy about all of your police
He's
investigations?
not even drunk this time either.
No.
But he is like, "Yes, we know the hailfire was arson, probably organized by a young woman in her late 20s who had a distinctive necklace." And I was like, "Is that not privileged information?"
That's definitely privileged information. And some things that they learn about Lydia, it's like it looks like she's having an allergic reaction and she keeps going into shock.
Mhm.
And so this is sort of politely paired with Peter's conversation with Styles. It's like, if I give you the bite and it doesn't kill you, which it could.
Mhm. Yep.
And so, like, we start having these seeds planted. So either she's going to turn into a werewolf or she's going to die.
Mhm.
Is that the path we're going to follow? Like, what of those options is it? What's going to happen?
Never mind the apparent secret 3rd, 4th, and 5th options.
Oh my God, yes. There are other secret options, but we haven't unlocked those yet. Those are not currently canon events.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
This
Styles,
hospital has, like, no fucking security, do they?
not at all. But like
Because
Styles is talking to the sheriff and, doing all the like telling him about the case. And as soon as he drops the, like, it's a pendant, like it's a necklace,
Mhm.
you can watch Styles's face as he figures it out.
Mhm.
He immediately starts to click, 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 click. Whoa.
Click, click, boom.
Click, click, boom. And he figures it out. He figures it out that Allison had a necklace. She got it from her Aunt Kate.
Mhm.
So,
Smarty pants.
smarty pants.
It's good that someone's paying attention and put the pieces together because Scott would be lost without him.
At least when it comes to this,
Yeah.
Scott's a really good moral compass,
Yeah, but you gotta have the puzzle friend.
but you got to have the puzzle friend.
Well, you have to have the plot mover friend.
Exactly.
Because otherwise,
Yeah.
who's gonna put the pieces together for us?
Yeah. So we continue kind of bouncing back and forth, and we're back with Scott and Derek. And Derek decides to drop a little truth bomb on Scott.
Mhm.
You're not in love, Scott. You're 16 years old. You're a child.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience, there, Derek?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Listen, he's not wrong. A lot of 16-year-olds are out there like, "This is the love of my life." Like, you are 16.
You
Fucking
don't know that for sure.
you don't know a lot of things. And you should maybe work on your homework once in a while instead of this.
Read a book. Learn
Read
a
a
new word.
book,
Drink some water.
drink some water, go for a walk, make friends. The person you're infatuated with should not be your entire life.
Yeah.
Scott McCall. It's not, don't make this your whole life. And the people are like, but my parents were high school sweethearts and they're still together. Cool. Statistically, no.
Statistically, no.
And that's fine because, like, knowing more people in your life builds your brain.
It does.
You should know, not meaning like biblically, but like you should know lots of people. Your brain needs activity. Now, I don't like leaving the house, so like, I'm not talking about me, but like, fucking Derek is speaking from experience because he's a sad, broken, destroyed person,
A little bit.
but he's also not wrong.
He's also not wrong.
And he misses his family.
He really, really does. So this, do we want to do it where we just like talk about like all of the flashy bits, like this whole Scott and
Yeah.
Scott
Just roll through it.
Just
Because
roll
like
through it.
it just goes
So-
back and forth, back and forth, back
it
and
just goes
forth.
back and forth and back and forth. So we're gonna. I'm tired of going back and forth. So Derek
My
is like,
note section here just says the Hale House.
yeah. So like, you're not in love. You're 16 years old, and Scott is trying to like get through to Derek,
Mhm.
and he's figured it out. So Styles is figuring out the whole Kate Argent thing on this side, but Scott is figuring out the whole Peter thing on this side. That the police report with the animal, with the deer, with the thing carved in it,
Mhm.
turns out that Peter's nurse got a copy of it.
Mhm.
That's what they planted to get Laura out in the field. That Scott's figured out that Peter killed Laura on purpose.
Yes.
That Peter seduced is the wrong word, but like put some bait out so that Laura would
Mhm.
come to Beacon Hills to get murdered so that Peter could steal the alpha power and become healed.
Yep. I think bait is the right word.
Bait's a good word. But like Derek is mad.
Mhm. Yeah, he is.
He's real mad. So, like, Derek has spent his entire, like, last 6 years thinking that he alone murdered his entire family. He never told Laura, we've established this, and the 2 of
Mhm.
them have been on the run together. And for him to just find out that his favorite uncle, his bestie,
Mhm.
murdered his sister.
Yeah.
He's big mad.
And, like, we don't know how much family is left for the Hales, so it
No.
could be his last family member
Yeah. That's what we're
murdered
led to
his sister.
believe.
Yeah.
That is what we are led to believe.
Mhm.
Ugh.
So, yeah, he's
Yeah.
mad.
Bad.
He just anger smashes through the chains.
He does. He anger smashes through the chains.
Good for him.
So before we can all get to the final showdown, up next, we go back to the hospital with Jackson and Styles.
Mhm.
Yay! And a party
Bing
crasher
bang.
named Chris Argent.
Fucking Chris is here looking for Scott and locks 2 teenage boys in a room to threaten them. Are there no security at this hospital?
Or doctors.
Or doctors or anyone to be like, hey, do you know them?
Is it like the entire sheriff's department there?
Like, nothing? No one to be like, sir, no. I think the doctors at Grey's Anatomy would not allow this.
They would not. No. What is it? Sloan Kettering Memorial? Or is that a real hospital?
Sloan Kettering is a real.
Damn.
Yeah, no, that's a real place. I'm sure they do good, solid work. No, it's Gray Sloan Memorial Hospital.
Okay, I was close.
You were very close. It was
was.
originally something else.
Sorry.
Yeah. Seattle Grace, and then it became Seattle Grace Mercy West. And now it's Gray Sloan Memorial Hospital.
Rad.
Today on Grey's Anatomy on the Rocks.
Don't you joke about that.
No, I stopped watching after a thing happened, and I was like, can't do it. Fuck this show.
Yeah. So, because my goggles are on, despite however loose they may be, we have to talk about the scene. So, Chris Argent basically has Styles against the wall because he just can't stop being like wrecked by grown men. And so Chris is reprising the rabid dog speech that he gave to Scott earlier in the season. And he's trying desperately to get through to Styles. Like, werewolves are bad, they're dangerous. Don't do it. And Styles drops
A bomb.
He drops the bomb. Would you prefer I locked him in the basement and burnt the whole house down around him?
Ooh.
And Chris is like, we had nothing to do with that fire.
Mm-hmm.
And Styles says, Derek said you guys had a code. I guess no one ever breaks it.
Ooh.
And it's this moment where at least you and I, and probably a good number of our siblings with all of our little stare glasses on go, when did he tell you that? Were the 2 of you talking off screen?
Mm-hmm.
Were the 2 of you having a friendly discussion not on camera?
It's one of the many discussions they have off camera.
Are you perhaps telling me that the 2 of them are forming some sort of friendship?
Mm-hmm.
That maybe they talk once in a while? Perhaps?
They sure do.
Interesting. Okay. And my notes say in all caps, someone like your sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 10 years, 12 years later, I'm trying to text out really angrily so that Chris Argent might learn something. I'm hoping I can go back through time and reality. Not helpful.
It is not. It does. Yeah. I mean, I love that this is just a teenage boy back talking to an armed grown man.
Correct.
It's great. And we know that Styles, I mean, sassy is one word, but he's just straight back talking to someone who has tried to kill him in the past.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. A+, no notes. Jackson is just stunned. I mean, he has tried to work with Chris in the past because he's a wimp. And Styles isn't having it.
No.
It's great.
Not having it.
No complaints here.
So I think everyone finally makes it to the finale. We finally make it to the big culminating scene of the season. And surprise, just like all great shows before us, it's in a dark, underlit location.
Of course it is.
I didn't realize that the preserve was so blue.
You know.
So blue.
So blue. We like nice little blue.
Yeah, I think
I'm feeling green these days, though, personally.
Somebody much wiser than me answered the age-old question. Where does the lighting come from? It comes from the same place the music does.
Mm-hmm.
Just let
Just
it be. Just let
don't
it
ask
be.
questions.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah, it's quite a scene. There's a lot happening here. Well, finally everyone comes together though, because Scott, is it Scott? Yeah, they're walking through the woods. Derek is suddenly like, "Oh, this seems a little too easy," because he can't shut his fucking mouth, and is immediately shot with an arrow by Allison. Oops.
Whoops. And Kate's like next to her and it's like giving her kind of like instructions, like one at a time. Chest,
Mm-hmm.
now the leg, flashbang, just like or flash. Flash bolt is what she calls it. So that's the
Yeah,
word we were
flash
looking
bolt.
for like 4 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
You know, it only took how many fucking
Yeah.
episodes to get the name of this thing.
But like one of the things that I noticed is like even with two straight up bolts in his body, Derek knows that the flash is coming because he can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to warn Scott.
Yep.
Derek loves Scott. He really does. He is trying to protect him. He sees him as Pack. He understands it.
Mm-hmm.
So, to all of my Scott Derek people out in the universe, like, I get it. I
Yeah.
see you. Because Derek knows that in that moment, he is putting Scott above himself
Mm-hmm.
for reasons. So, he's trying. And Scott is just staring just dumbly at Allison, just with this whole like glazed look on his face. He cannot believe it. He doesn't understand.
I mean, it is kind of rude to be for that to happen.
True facts.
Yeah, that does suck. Balls. Hard to complain or hard to shake that one off.
Hard to shake that one off. It really is. But Kate starts to show her like extra true colors in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that also shakes up Allison because, you know, they were doing stuff together and it was cool and I got it and she wouldn't let me down. And now now shoot him before I have to shoot him myself.
Mm-hmm.
I know that look. It's the you're going to have to do it yourself look.
Mm-hmm.
And she just like walks past Derek and just shoots him.
Yeah.
Just like, and
Yeah.
then levels a gun at Scott.
Yeah.
Like,
a wee boy.
ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Nay. No. Stop it.
Yeah. Yep. Right in front of her niece, right in front of the woods.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was trying to murder a child in cold blood. And who intervenes? But Chris.
Christopher. You know, who finally gets to see.
Yeah.
And tells her the code that they're supposed to be living by.
In French that Allison helpfully translates for us.
Yes, thank you, Allison, because his French accent is terrible.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah. We hunt those who hunt us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a shitty accent, but, you know, it's fine.
He's trying his best. It's fine.
You could try a little hard. No.
No shush. But yeah, it's in this moment, you know, I think Allison really would have to kind of reckon with what's going on because Chris is now leveling a gun at Kate.
Mm-hmm.
Her father is willing to kill her aunt over killing Scott.
Yeah.
Like she is just looking at this triangle of people that she loves and not understanding.
It's the Spider-Man meme. Gun.
Oh, yes.
Gun.
Yeah, pretty much.
Guns for everyone.
Guns for everyone.
And now also the Alpha.
Da-da-da.
Another gun? He isn't really a gun. He's just got claws and teeth.
And something I really appreciate about Peter's self-control in this moment is that he is knocking down everyone that he doesn't want to kill. He's not hurting them. He just wants revenge on those responsible. So like he knocks down Derek and he knocks down Chris and he knocks down Allison and he knocks down Scott. He doesn't injure them or swipe at them. He just kind of goes, whoop.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to kind of not have them interfere. And I really appreciate that level of self-control.
He's got a target, and that target...
He catches her, he breaks her wrist and throws her into the house.
Yeah, you know, he's fucking with her a little bit.
He's fucking with her. And Allison runs after her.
Mm-hmm.
And she finds Peter and Kate with Peter's claws just digging into her throat. Apologize and I'll let her live.
Yep, for destroying his entire family, and he'll let Allison live.
Yeah, his entire family.
You could tell he was sad. He had the look of actual, like, he is certifiable, but he is also sad for his family.
Yeah, there were people that he loved in that fire.
Mm-hmm. Now, we did know that he was still going to kill her.
Oh, yeah. Kate apologizes and sacrifices herself for Allison, and Peter rips her throat out.
Mm-hmm.
Murdered. right in front of Allison. But
Is
Peter
it
is
murder or is that self-defense?
in this particular moment, it's murder. It's a very fine line.
Yeah.
But Peter is still, a little burned in the brain,
Yeah.
and goes for Allison. Luckily for her, two heavily prosthetic men come in and try to intervene.
Yes.
Fight night, fight night.
Derek's already been shot with 2 arrows and a bullet, and he's just like, no, I'm good.
I'm good, we're cool.
I got this.
My favorite is that, like, most of the way through this fight scene, Peter's, like, trying to shake off his weird, like, Scooby-Doo villain transformation.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what that was about.
I don't know. But when he transforms into the Alpha, he, like, officially shreds his official Hale pack leather jacket.
Yes.
Poor guy.
And, well, it's shaking off the last vestiges of his humanity? Maybe?
Last attachments to his family,
Maybe?
Yeah, that's real.
We'll
Yeah,
go,
we
we'll
can
go
go
there. We can go there.
We can go there. I'd get points for that in the high school English.
Great.
Essay. That's fine.
Sweet. Never say we don't reach.
We don't reach. It's fine.
Yep. Styles and Jackson also show up.
Whee!
Finally. They both have Molotov cocktails. As a nice little...
Self-igniting Molotov cocktails.
Yes, that they have made at some point. We're going to assume at the hospital?
I assume so. I'm just really confused because Lydia was the one who had... So, like, Lydia's there too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty wonderful as we kind of look at the whole story that Lydia sort of is the one who gets to kill Peter a little bit. Like, I'm reaching, but, like, we're going to go there. And that's lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, Styles throws the self-igniting Molotov cocktail, but Peter catches it. Oh no! And Scott goes, Allison, you have to shoot it. And Allison shoots the bottle in his hands and he goes, and goes up in flames. Ah!
Is it kind of mean to make him burn a second time?
It's real mean.
Yeah.
It is an unfortunate sequence of events.
Yeah, I thought that was like a little rude. Even though he has it coming, I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
And of course, Chris wakes up just in time to not be useful.
Right.
Because Derek comes out of the house ready to finish Peter off. And then Scott's like, but you said the cure comes from the one who bit you, thinking that if they keep Peter alive, he could not be a werewolf, forgetting that the name of the show is Teen Wolf.
Yeah. Scott, honey, you're the protagonist. You got to be a werewolf. I'm very sorry.
That's really how this is going to work. And Derek finishes Peter off by slashing his throat.
You already decided. I can smell it on you, Peter.
Yeah.
Peter.
And when Derek stands up, his eyes are red. And in the cheesiest way possible, he says, I'm the alpha now.
Then you immediately cut to my favorite musical cue in all of Teen Wolf, which is that like doom, 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 doom.
It was kind of silly.
I love that song. If you like listen to the song, it's actually really wonderful. But like just that like little tinkle of bells is just like, I don't understand.
It's not quite right.
But we do have, again, an incredibly soft and sweet little moment between Allison and Scott. Oh, it's so cute. So like there's the action sequence and Peter's on the ground and everything's great. And Allison comes up to wolf face Scott and gives him a little smooch and tells him, because I love you.
She could really do some apologizing, though.
She could really do some apologizing. But she smooches him back to humandom, and Chris is looking at them like, oh, shit.
Yeah, right. It's too late now, buddy.
Too late now. Scott, welcome Allison officially to the Monster Fucker Club. Thrilled to have you with us. But no, these two are having, like, Allison is having such a freaking couple of days. And we talk a lot about Allison being Scott's anchor, but I think in this moment, and as I look forward to season 2, I think Scott is Allison's anchor too. Because it's not until she, like, when she's able to have Scott, she's got a foundation. And then when she loses an anchor, like, everything goes banana nut muffins. And so I love that relationship for them. A little codependent for being teenagers, but they're fictional. So
a little bit. Just a smidge.
They're fictional. It's fine.
Yeah. And they'll grow up a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. For a while.
Yeah. We do we wrap up plot a little bit too with the sheriff is going to have to investigate Kate's death at the house. She's got the necklace on. She gets tied to the arson murders. Bada bing, bada boom. Plot, plot, plot.
Plot. Yeah, we're wrapping up plots and we're setting up the next season. So
By
Scott and
going
Styles,
back to the hospital.
and we're sneaking into Lydia's hotel room or hotel room, hospital room. Lol.
At the hotel motel.
Slow kidder. No. So like sometimes in this, like, you forget what goofballs Scott and Styles are, but this entire sequence with the squeaky door
Oh, I
was
know, it's so funny.
unbelievable. I love these two
Yeah.
so much. They're such goofballs.
Little levity for the end of the episode there.
Yeah. So like Scott's coming to investigate her wound because she's not waking up and she's still really sick and she's just in a coma basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of peel back the bandage and she's got this big kind of open gash in her side.
Mm-hmm.
So she isn't healing like Scott did.
Yes.
And so they say, she's not a werewolf. Then what the hell is she?
Oh, no.
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for asking it.
Thank you.
We'll circle back.
Yeah, thank you for setting that up for us. We'll come back to it.
We'll circle back. Speaking of setting things up, Jackson, give me what I want, Whittemore.
Oh, my God. What a whiny baby.
Yeah, a little bit.
Ugh.
So Jackson once again storms into the burnt out husk of Derek's home and demands, I helped save you. You have what you gave me what I want. And in my least favorite version of my firstborn son, Derek Hale, he becomes a creepy predator.
Yep.
And goes after Jackson with his big shiny teeth.
Yep. Yeah, his grin in this one, I was like, all right, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
He doesn't make great choices in season 2. I will grant you that. He makes some pretty bad choices.
He really, really does.
He really, really does.
But it's okay. We love him.
We do. As we love Jackson, who also has been making some really silly choices all season.
Teenagers and their smooth brains.
We flash to the Argent's house where we find a gigantic article about Kate in the paper. Murder, murder, murder. And we start to see Victoria's heel turn. She starts kind of getting a little bad guy in here. She starts, defending the things that our family does. And she drops a line. They'll be here in 2 days. And and she asks Chris, well, what about Scott? And Chris says, I'm not the only one he has to worry about now. Setting up more season 2 plot lines. Who's going to be here in 2 days? Who does Scott have to worry about? We'll find out. We'll find out.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Next week on. Actually, I guess next year on.
Yeah.
Whenever, I forget when the next season aired.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, for us, it'll be in probably 2 weeks from now. Yeah. Whenever you're listening, dear listener.
Eventually when.
And we wrap up this beautiful season of this very silly TV show asking a very simple question. I wonder where Allison is, because we were looking at her empty bedroom. Turns out she's snuggling on the roof with Scott.
Well, remember, she can parkour, so she got up there pretty easily.
Parkour! Yeah, her gymnastics background must have been super helpful for this. But they're being unbelievably precious, just on the roof, being together. Babies.
Yeah, they really needed to end it on a gentle note.
They really did. This was an intense episode.
And quite the season, so it needed to go out soft and sweet, I think, because, I mean, they could have gone the other way. It could have ended with, I'm the alpha now, but that ends the season on Derek.
Right. And you really want to end it on Scott.
I mean, I want to end it on Derek, because Derek stan, but that's not the show, even though I want it to be, so you do have to end it on Scott.
Indeed.
And I mean, I didn't do the deep dive. I guess we could have, but is that who we are? Into when the pickups happened back in 2011, when they knew they had a second season renewal. So when they were writing to a second season.
And if they knew or not, they did end up writing for a second season, for which I'm incredibly grateful.
Yeah. Well, they announced July 13th, 2011, that they were picked up for a second season. And these were airing. So they announced while the season was airing.
Right.
So they would have known when the episodes had already been written.
Yeah. And probably
filmed.
already shot.
Yeah. So when they wrote the episodes, they did not know if they had a second season.
What do you think are the chances that any of these shots were pickup shots? Because,
excellent question.
Like, I'm looking here and I think it could be really, really clear that the season could have ended on "I'm the alpha now."
Yeah.
Because the sheriff
Mhm.
doesn't need to find Kate's body with the pendant. Scott and Stiles don't need to sneak into Lydia's hospital room and, like, pitch the question like, "She's not a werewolf, then what the hell is she?"
Yeah.
We don't need Jackson going into Derek's house for, like, the second or third time demanding the bite. We don't need Victoria's entire, like, the newspaper article, and they'll be here in 2 days. That's all set up later.
Mhm.
None of that is integral to the way that the story flows in the episode. So it is, for me, hold on, folks. I got to go get my saddle because we got to saddle up the curiosity pony here to take a ride off into the sunset. It is, for me, very possible that all of these particular shots
Mhm.
could have been written and filmed after all of this, after everything, and
Yeah,
inserted into the back.
it could be. I
Just like a
have
big
no
tag.
idea. Would have to do quite a bit of research to figure that out.
Yeah.
Someone call the director.
I could stretch it. I could see how that would happen. I could
Yeah,
see it. So, yeah. No, I'm very, very excited. This season has gone pretty well, all things considered. This was really enjoyable.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good time. And you know how sometimes the first seasons of shows are like, this is a good one.
Yeah, I don't mind this. I don't mind it at all. We get some really wonderful characters. Some folks get some development. It's pretty
Mhm.
sweet.
Yep. Pretty solid ground for season 2.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. My complaints are like, where's more Derek?
Season one's about Scott. Calm down.
I know that. And yet,
And yet.
where is Derek?
Do you want more Derek? How about you watch the movie?
Because I don't want to.
No, 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 no,
I
no,
know. I
no,
don't want it.
no,
I mean, we'll fucking watch it, but I don't want it.
no, 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 thank you. No, thank you. All right.
Yeah, this was quite a show.
Yeah,
It's bananas and bizarre, and I knew this and I remembered this, but there's also stuff where you're like, wow.
every time.
Yep.
So I think for this, we have to do a final round of season one of a little segment I like to call "This is the episode you're looking for," in which I talk too much about pretty pictures. So if you are a giffer looking for any of the following scenes, this is the episode you're looking for. If you're looking for that very soft touch that Allison does to the hospital window for Lydia's room, if you're looking for Allison in the purple sweater in the elevator, if you're looking for Allison falling out of the bus, that's at the very beginning of this episode. If you're looking for some really cool sort of underused stuff for Kate and Allison, there's some great stuff here. Scott and Derek have some great stuff. Stiles and Jackson have some really great stuff. If you're looking for horror stuff, Jackson carrying Lydia after having been attacked on the field. And then, of course, all of the Steeder. It is mostly in
Mm.
this episode. Peter dragging Stiles up by the chin, Peter and Stiles in the parking garage with the wrist. That's all here. And of course, the very, very sweet Scott and Allison images, that one in like kind of the after embers of Peter's burning body, I guess, where she kisses his little werewolf face. And then, of course, the two of them snugging on the roof after everything. There is some really wonderful classic shots in this episode. But
Mhm.
I'm going to make a personal plea. Please include that gif of Derek opening his eyes after hearing Scott's roar, because
Yes.
I had forgotten about that particular image and it's real pretty.
Yes, it is.
So we should put that one in some stuff. Friends,
Just, please. Please and thank you.
please and thank you. Well, y'all, we did it.
I know, season 1.
We did an entire season. And if you're still here with us, listening to me and my good bud here just ramble on about this weird little TV show, thanks for being here. And,
I know.
yay!
This show is so old. I mean, it's not that old. It's only 12 years old, right? But that's what we love about fandom, though, is
It
things
still has
that,
me by the heart. I have fic pulled up on my phone right now for this beautiful fandom.
yes, totally.
I'm so grateful for all of you, and we want to talk to you. If you have things to say, if you have thoughts and feelings, particularly about season 1 or anybody's character arcs or like what was going on in the fandom at that point, because Em and I weren't in the fandom at that point. We want to talk to you, and we're so excited.
I know, we came a little late.
Came a little late
We
to the
had to
party.
catch up. Not because we didn't want to, we just didn't know.
We just didn't know. At the time, I didn't have cable, so, you know.
Yeah. Which is, I think, something that sucks about the current streaming environment is that so many of these shows just disappear
Yeah.
because there's no time to build a fandom. By the time you know a show exists, it's gone.
Right.
And you're like, how am I supposed to love it when you've already taken it away from me?
Right.
Well, because it's not profitable? Fuck off.
I don't need it to be profitable. I don't even necessarily need it to be good.
Yeah, well, some of the greatest shows have no fandom because there's nothing to talk about. What kind of fucking Sopranos fandom is there?
It's not on Tumblr, I don't think.
No. What? Where's the fic for the Sopranos? What is that?
See, now I'm really curious. Oh, this is gonna take me to some scary places. I don't think I'm prepared for it at this hour.
There was a post at one point, and I can't remember what it was anymore, but it talked about, I can't remember what it was called, but there's like it's not a bell curve, but it's like a show really can't be so good for there to be a fandom because you have to have something to talk about. You have to have something to connect about. It has to have not something wrong with it, but there has to be a gap in it for fandom to fill. If that's character development, if it's plot development, if it was too short, and sometimes maybe if it's too long, like Doctor Who, right? Like if there's something about it that's missing for fans to come in and fill. If something is too good and there's nothing to fill, it rejects fandom participation.
Right.
That's not the case with Teen Wolf.
No.
It has gaps. There's
has
something
gaps.
to fill. It has missing pieces for people to come in and lay hands on, which is why we're here.
Which is why we're here to talk about
And why
it.
people are invested in it.
Yeah. Like, we'll talk about it when we get there, but there's almost always a big, like, chunk of time between when one season in the storyline ends and when the next one begins.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens there? As
Mm-hmm.
in the fandom, there's a big conversation about what happened in the summer between season 2 and season 3A.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a chunk of time missing and that things very clearly like happened.
Sure.
But we didn't get to see it. And so that's
Right.
where fandom steps in and is like, no, I bet you this is what happened. When we left here, this is where we were, and now we're here. So how did we get from here to there?
Right.
And it's so interesting to listen to what people think and how they've experienced times like that and how they think that people grow and change. It's so much fun.
Yep, totally.
And the fic is great. Just an enormous shout out to every single talented human in this fandom. We literally could not do it without you.
Mm-hmm. You are the best. And we love you.
Love you.
So thank you for listening to season 1 of Pack Dynamics. You can find us online at Fandom on the Rocks. If you want to support us in some way or come hang out, we are at patreon.com/Fandom on the Rocks. You'll find all sorts of bonus content, potentially bonus content about Teen Wolf. Who knows what we will do or have done in between these episodes? Who knows? We don't even know. And we'll catch you for season 2, which will be a lot longer. God help us.
Oh.
You've been listening to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. You can follow us online at Fandom on the Rocks. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to our Patreon account at patreon.com/Fandom on the Rocks. Subscribers get access to ad-free content, exclusive bonus episodes deep diving into fandom, and more. So until next time, keep your pack close.